After over 2.5 years of advertising for e-commerce brands, I've tend to realize that there are now 4 stages of paid advertising where your needs will be different. You'll need a different team structure. You'll need different ad platforms, different budgets, depending on what stage of your journey you're at. And it's very, very important that you understand what are these 4 stages so that you can actually best prepare to attack each and every one of them. So in today's video, I want to discuss with you what are these 4 stages, how to best prepare for them, what type of team structure you will need at each 4 of these stages, and what investments you might be want to look at, again, these 4 stages. My name is Justin, and I'm the founder at Wizo Media, an e-commerce marketing agency specializing in elevating thriving brands by simplifying e-commerce growth. So I'm gonna put a screenshot right now on screen of the tweet I did a few days ago at the time of recording this video, where I talked about the 4 stage of e-commerce advertising. So right now, there's the 4 stage are actually the following. There's in-house, outsourced, in-house, mixed. And on these stages, they actually all have an explanation for that. So this is what I want to go through in today's video. So first of all, when you first start an e-commerce brand, if you're making below $50,000 per month, usually you've got no money to hire an agency. You've got no money to even hire a team to work with you. Because look, let's be honest, $50,000 a month with an e-commerce brand is barely nothing. What do you actually keep at the end of the day, right? Let's just assume you have about 50% margins, then you add about 25 grand, and then from there you got to pay maybe, again, there's a couple of fees you got to pay at the end of the day. Like, you really don't have a lot left in your pockets is all I'm trying to say right here. Is it goes by pretty fast at that stage. So you're doing less than $50,000 per month. So you've got no money. At that point also, you probably have no product market fit, because if you actually did, or if you actually had a big demand, you'd have a lot more sales than that. The brands that actually found product market fit and know what their ideal offer is, they know exactly who they're speaking to, and they have a good kind of relationship with the markets, are already making a lot more than that. So you're kind of still trying to find your way through the market, which is one thing. And you just need to do it yourself at this point. Like, you are in a DIY stage. You actually need to run your own ads. You need to do your own organic marketing. You need to do your own product research. Like, you're doing everything by yourself, which honestly, this is a very good stage. Any style of businesses, there is a certain point where when you first start, it requires a lot of effort. You have no money, but what do you have? You have time. And when you have time, then you have to use a lot of that time in order to push the snowball forward. So when you first start, you are a generalist. You are probably the business owner running your own ads. You are learning how to go through the waves of advertising. You're learning how to make your first few sales, learning what the market wants. And it's very great, because once you get close to stage 2, which is the $50,000 a month mark and more, you'll already know what to look for in an agency. You'll already know what to look for in a partner, because at that stage, you've dabbled with ads a little bit. So pardon my French, but you cannot really get fucked over. And that's the reality I feel with a lot of the $50,000 a month or less brands. They're gonna start working with an agency at that stage, and they always get fucked over. These are the clients that will hop on a discovery call with our team and are like, look, I've worked with 8 different agencies. None of them are able to make it work. I don't understand. I don't know what to do at this point. Please help us. And it's like, we can't. None of these other 8 agencies were actually truthful enough with you to tell you that they couldn't. They just wanted to take their money, which honestly, it's debatable as whether or not this is right. But at the end of the day, is you need to figure out what your product market fit is. This is the most important part. If you're not able to get sales on your own, you don't have a business. You just have an idea at this point. And to me, I'm kind of baffled a lot by brands that are making $0. And I'm not talking about brands that have a founder that has a lot of previous great experiences with e-commerce brands, because that's a totally different story. But first-time founders that create their first e-commerce brand, they've got $0 in sales, and they're already looking out there for an agency. They're like, yep, got this great product. I want to get going. It won't work. It honestly won't. No agency is going to be able to get your results if you're not making a certain amount of money per month, because you have not proven that what you sell is actually worth the while. The market doesn't even know anything about you, and an agency can only amplify what you've already started to build. So with that being said, stage 1 is very important, and I think every single brand needs at that point a mentor. They need mentorship, they need help, they need somebody to hold their hand and kind of do it with them instead of just do it yourself alone. So a little side note, we've worked incredibly hard in the last few months at the agency to build our new Done With You program, which is called Peak Ad. So we have Peak Ad Consultancy, which is going to be a Done With You membership, very, very cheap, which our team helps you run your ads, helps you build the website, helps you do all of these things that a first-time founder has to figure out. So instead of doing it for you, which would cost you an arm and a leg at that stage, we help you on a membership basis. So I'm gonna leave a link in the description down below for you to actually check out the Peak Ad program that we're releasing in February. Right now, the waitlist has been open. We're only gonna let in 25 members at the start to make sure that we can deliver the highest level of help possible. So we already have over 20 members on the waitlist ready to buy that said that like they want to be the first ones to actually get it. So again, only a couple of spots left at the moment. So check this out in the description. There's actually a 16-minute video giving you a little bit more information about that, but it's great for stage 1 e-commerce brand owners. Now, stage 2 is you're starting to have money, you have product market fit, but you've got no time at that point. If you're making at least $50,000 per month, it's like at this point, you've got a decent amount of orders coming through. At this point, you've figured out what your product market fit is. At this point, you have somewhat of a good organic following. At this point, you are somewhat profitable with your ads. So it's like you started to figure shit out and you're doing too many things. You're juggling with too many balls at once. And this is now a stage where you have to unlearn stage 1 principles in order to keep on growing. Stage 1 was about becoming a generalist, was about learning everything that you could level up all of these business pillars at once. Now at this point, you need to start delegating some of these pillars so you can focus what you're best at, which usually as an e-commerce brand owner is focusing on the product, focusing on product development and making sure that you have a better product, and also about customer loyalty, getting them to come back. And retention is key for you to still focus on. But at that point, it's time for you to outsource ads, which is great to work with an agency. This is where you've got the money to pay an agency, you've got the money for the ad spend, you know somewhat what you're doing, so you're able to kind of look over the agency and make sure that they're not, again, messing everything up. So it's a great time for you to work with them. So that is the stage that is about 50 to, depending on the brands, 250K to about $500,000 a month. You're gonna be in that stage 2 phase, which is honestly quite big. Now there is a stage 3, but before I get into that, I wanna say that a lot of brands, once again, tend to exit the stage 2 much quicker than they should. So I see a lot of brands sometimes, and that is just part of the agency life and the agency game, but they're gonna leave their agencies way too quick. They're gonna start making, let's say, 100K per month, and then boom, they wanna bring it in-house, but it's like they don't necessarily have the very, very good talent to bring it in-house. Like, think of it that way. If you want to have a killer media buyer, a killer creative strategist, a killer CMO on your team, you're probably looking at least 15 to 20 grand total to have all 3 of these roll. And again, if you're making 100K per month, it's like, how much do you actually keep at the end of the month as an e-commerce brand? And that's what I think a lot of people forget. So don't exit that stage too fast. I'd say most brands should wait until at least 250 to about $500,000 a month. And then you want to get into stage 3. So stage 3 is where a lot of brands will bring it in-house, rightfully so. You've got money, and at this point, you're probably paying your agency a little bit too much. So probably paying your agency 10, 15, 20, 30 grand a month. And it would be more cost efficient for you at that point to bring it in-house, and you'd have more control also over the scaling process. So at that point, by all means, bring it in-house. And that is usually going to be the case until you're making a few millions per month. So I see these brands from about $500,000 a month to about 2 to 3 million a month. They're going to be in that stage where they're just handling everything in-house. But then it becomes very tricky and interesting, because then there is a stage 4 where you encounter another problem, which are the following 2. You actually, first of all, your employees start costing you a lot. You got to pay a lot of dental insurance, you got to pay a lot of employee perks and everything, and your team keeps on growing. So your mass of team members and salaries you have to pay is quite high. So that's one problem. The second problem is the fact that you're handling a lot of ad spend. And to handle a lot of ad spend, again, you need a lot of manpower. And sometimes the people in-house, they are exclusive to you. Therefore, they don't necessarily know what's best in the industry right now. They're not working with other accounts. Therefore, they might lack the grit and what it really needs to help you keep on growing and bring on new ideas. So this is where I see at the agency, like last year as an example, we work with this brand. They were making about $3 million a month, and they had a full team of I think they were 15 in-house handling the ads, and they had like a whole department just for ads. And they still decided to work with an agency. Why? They wanted outside help. And when we came into the ad account, it was a mess. They had 2 ad accounts, 26 campaigns running on each of these ad accounts. So do the math, they had a fuck ton of campaigns running at the same time, only to spend about 5 grand a day, which, like, honestly, right now we're spending over 12 grand a day with some clients with literally only 1 campaign. So it's like, they had a crazy account structure for no reason, and they just needed help. Like, they came back to a point where the spend was just too much for the team to actually kind of focusing on, and they needed somebody from the outside to tell them what to do, which kind of comes back to a half done with you, half done for you model. So those are the 4 stages of e-commerce paid advertising, and you need to get ready for those to come, because it's inevitable. You will get through all of these 4 for as long as you keep on growing with your brand. Obviously, I see a lot of brands sometimes are going to get stuck at stage 2, which in my opinion is probably the hardest to break through. But if you're able to get past stage 2, then stage 3 and 4 will naturally come. Now, my last piece of advice is, how do you actually break through stage 2? Because as I said, it's probably one of the biggest stage in terms of gap. Like, it's 50K per month to about 250K to $500,000. There's a big difference. There's a 10x difference in revenue between these 2 points. So you can get easily stuck at that level. Now, what are some things to be wary of in that stage? First of all, it is once again product market fit. So sometimes people will niche down to first start their brand, which is by all means very good idea, because you have, again, the riches are in the niches, as you hear a lot. But then as you keep on growing, you might saturate the market. We're seeing that a lot right now within the agency as we work closely with a lot of Quebec-based brands. In Quebec, we have a lot of e-commerce brands that we work with, and it just so happens that most of them actually are selling to women. The maximum amount of women you can actually target on Facebook is something along the lines of 1.6 million. That gets saturated very, very fast. Like, you don't have that many women to actually target. So can you realistically scale past 100K per month? No. Most of our brands within Quebec that are selling just to women will get stuck always at about 80 to 150K per month on a regular month. On like Black Friday months or whatever, they might push it to 200, 300K, but that's about it. They're not able to get past that just because the market is too small to accommodate for the demand. So then you have to look at other ways to expand. And this is where a lot of people will start looking at the agency, which again, just always remind yourself that an agency's incentive is to help you scale something that you've already figured out. It's like you need to have the idea, and I'm using the same format within our own team, right? If I'm hiring new team members, I've got 2 ways to actually do that. First, I hire someone that is great at what they're doing, and I put them on a task that I've already kind of figured out how to do it. And on their side, they just have to build on top of what I'm already building. But if I hire someone to build something from scratch, it's a whole different level of things. It's a whole different budget. It's also a whole different level of expertise required. And all I'm going with this is that it's the founder's job to actually figure out product market fit and where to expand. Agency will inevitably follow. So once again, product market fit is probably going to be a problem, or at least your market size might become a problem at that stage. That is one thing to note when you get to that level. The second thing is branding. I see a lot of brands, once again, they start getting big and they start to think that like they need to be like super branded. Everything has to be on brand. Every like photo shoot, every creative has to have the right colors, the right fonts, the right placements, no cropping. I made a separate video about that not too long ago about branding versus profitability. But a lot of brands end up shooting themselves in the foot, because if you're too strict on your branding, at that stage, you'll never scale. You'll never be able to scale because, again, you don't have the capacity to be that strict with the branding. If you're too strict with branding, you can't output creatives fast enough. You can't update your ads fast enough. Your email team can actually output emails fast enough. You have to be quick at that stage and go with sheer volume. You really have to push a lot of volume in the market. As a lot of people like to say, volume negates luck. And it's entirely still true at that stage. You need to push a lot of volume to the market, and you can't do that if you're too strict with branding. And last but not least, it's either not knowing your numbers or being scared to scale. So I've got, like, believe it or not, so many of the brands that I speak to don't know their exact numbers. If you ask margins, they give you a rough estimate. If you actually ask specific product margins, again, you get a I don't know, or it's around that, but you don't get like, when I ask margins, I want somebody to look at me and be like, it's 54.4%. Like, I want something that is, it's crystal clear. They know exactly what margins are. But a lot of people, look, I speak to clients, they don't even know what pick and pack fee is. And that's the reality. Like, not everyone knows their numbers, but when you start scaling, it's all about a numbers game. It really is. If you want to focus on scale, you have to focus on one thing, which is customer acquisition. How many new people can I just shove down the funnel and get within the brand? What that means, you have to know your numbers because of 2 things. First of all, you have to know what is your profitability threshold. What is your exact profitability threshold to hit on the front end, on top of funnel? What would you need to be to profit on the first order? And then what you also need to know is like LTV based, LTV through time, 3 months, 6 month, 12-month LTV. Where do I become profitable if I'm not profitable on the front end? Because that is the truth. A lot of owners will want to be profitable on the front end, but if you really want to scale hard, you might not be. You might actually be slightly unprofitable on the front end, but as you have good email marketing, as you have good retargeting ads, as you have good community building, you know that within 3 months, you'll recoup that money and actually be a lot more profitable. So if your goal is to scale, you might just need to focus on a numbers game, look closely at those numbers in order to push as many people through the funnel and get them to buy on the back end again. So it's a very different game based on your objectives. If your aim is profit and to kind of maintain ad spend and just get a better ROAS and incremental margins in results, that's cool. But I think what I'm saying right here is probably not for you. If you really are someone who really wants to push their brand to the next level, then you have to know your numbers. With that being said, if you are a brand making less than $50,000 per month, then we have a Facebook group for you offered in the description down below. Completely free. We post a lot of tips, contents, and advice on that group. You're one of the first to know about these videos, and any questions you have, you can ask on that group, and I'll be more than happy to respond back to you. Although if you are an e-commerce brand owner watching this and you are in your stage 2, so you are making at least $50,000 a month with your brand, then also check out the description down below and book in a short demo call with our team so that we can help you scale through paid advertising and performance creatives. On that note, make sure you check out other videos on the channel for some more useful e-commerce marketing tips, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.